Back in studio here for a Saturday night program, and as Chad mentioned, it is Grassroots Finals night, a card that I always look forward to, and I know plenty of the competitors and people competing a part of this program are very excited as well. This could be the Super Bowl for many of them. It could be the last start for some of them in terms of their rookies and sophomores, but we could also continue to see them race, and we could even see some of them elevate themselves and earn a berth into that OSS Gold Super Final as well, as we saw last year. Now the winners of the Super Final, of the Grassroots Final, they have the option to get into that Super Final, the Gold Super Final, if it doesn't fill. So there could be even bigger opportunities for some of these winners that are going to be competing here on tonight's program. But I'm super, super pumped up for it. I know my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, is super jacked up for this program as well. Look, we might not be seeing the type of stars that we've seen on the Grand Circuit stage, but we're still going to see some quality horses here, very quality horses, especially here that have been taking on, who've been competing provincially. And I tell you what, for me, this is one of the best handicapping cards of the year.
Yeah, at some point, pretty well every horse that we're going to see racing in these 8 championships tonight, they will make their way to the open class somewhere. These grassroots are no giveaways, Simple as that. Like, yep. I mean, yeah, they're not gold, and you're going to see a lot of gold horses go to the open, but you're going to see a lot of these ones also heading to the open as well. It's just that some people, they would rather take the opportunity to risk to race for a win as opposed to race for a third, fourth, and fifth in the gold. So these are some really, really deep horses tonight.
It's really fun to see the progression of some of these horses as well. I know there's plenty of them, but one that really sticks out to me is a Century Jamila, who I believe was a Grassroots final winner. And look at what she's done. I mean, she was a staple here in the Preferred, winning, multiple weeks or multiple fillies and mares Preferred over a good period of time. And she's been a staple here whenever she has been racing. So just to watch the progression and the evolution of these horses, again, our program is the best, I think, in North America. I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but we've produced some great, great superstars. And I think a lot of people who buy locally and race locally, I think they've got plenty to be proud of.
Absolutely, yeah absolutely. And, we're lucky to be a part of this great program.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the action, though, Randy. And we're going to look at last night's action and just kind of highlight what went on last night before we dig into what's a busy Saturday night program. And going to look back at last night, and obviously you mentioned your star of the card, Doug McNair. He won't be competing here tonight, but he was at Lexington, competing at the Red Mile for a few races there. And he will be making his way to Dayton as well to get a chance to sit behind Logan Park in one of their Marquee Stakes events. But he did pretty well. 6 drives, 4 trips to the winner's circle last night for him, Randy.
Yeah, I'll say, he should have had the hand up there because he's supposed to only have the 4 fingers, right?
Exactly.
Big night for him. And I didn't see all of his action down at the Red Mile, but I did catch
Light Up the World.
Light Up the World, and I thought he was going to get there with him. Just fell short by a nose, but tripped out to death by young Mr. McNair.
But a big improvement by Light Up the World today, given what we saw from him last time out. Just never looked like himself, and Doug McNair sitting behind him for the first time as James made his way back here to compete here in the Grassroots Finals, and he gave him a really good trip. I mean, he didn't get the result I'm sure that they all had hoped for, but still a nice second place effort there. He improved. Something to build on, exactly. Inconsistency's been the thing with the Light Up the World.
It has been, and we've said it before, sometimes horses, they have seasons too, you know what I mean? And they, all of a sudden they're sharp, and then they go 4 or 5 starts when maybe they're not quite as sharp. Then here they'll come again. And I think this guy, by the way he looked tonight, might just be trending into the Breeders' Crown in good shape.
And we see the pick 6 paid over $3,200 there for 20 cents. I'm hoping we can get a pretty good pool tonight. Again, I think these multi-leg wagers tonight are must-place because I think there's the potential for some long shots. I know I went price shopping in the majority of these Grassroots Finals because we're going to get some action.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're going to get here. And we see some horses that figure in here tonight, Randy, like with Blue Jean Gal, who draws post 9 here tonight. She's currently sitting there at 6-1. I don't think that price is going to hold. Out of Ice, he draws post 10. I think when you have these main contenders in some of these divisions draw outside, I think it really changes the complexion of how the racing's going to set up, and it could result in into some prices as well.
Bad post positions, it doesn't make it easier.
Yeah.
It just makes things a lot more difficult, So again, if you're going to play against them, and we've said it all year, all long, there's 2 different seasons. You gotta, just because the ones that have been doing all the winning so far, there's usually 1 or 2 that are coming in that are bringing really good form that we haven't seen much of them. You got to watch that form, because I think there's a couple tonight that even though they're in against horses that should be the favorite, There's a couple that are coming in tonight that are really performing quite well.
Big time. And we mentioned Doug McNair, who won't be with us here tonight. We're not going to have Louis Waugh here with us tonight as well. He's going to be competing in Dayton, getting the chance to sit behind Irvin Hanover, who's his star open pacer, though. But tonight is the night that he's going to be represented in terms of the Breeders' Crown Charity Challenge here. And his cause is going to be for the Kids Help Phone Line. And he's going to be paired up with Team Serge Godin and Determination here. And his hashtag is Determined to Win. So if you want to chime in on social media and participate, that's the hashtag Determined to Win. And we spoke about this last night, Randy. Louis wanting to represent the Kids Help Phone Line because he said that now that he's got kids, he understands the importance of the younger generation and just what they go through. There's a lot of struggles that the younger generation goes through, specifically men as well, who are kind of shy about talking about their mental health struggles, a stigma that I think we need to kind of put to a close. And hopefully guys are more open about speaking about their issues. And good on Louis for supporting this cause because I think it's very important.
Absolutely, for sure. Any kids charity is you know, right up there in my books.
And all the causes I think are great causes as well, right? But this is the one we're going to be focusing on tonight. But we'll be rooting for Louis out of town as well, for him and Dave Maneri and Irvin Hanover to get the job done because he's razor sharp right now and we'd love to see him get the job done.
Would it ever? Yeah, it'd be nice, you know, if he reels off another one. He could be the 1-2 beat, you know, in a couple of weeks of the Breeders' Crown.
He's coming into the season sharp, right? Like you said, 2 seasons. The first start he kind of was racing well, but wasn't quite there. It seems like he's quite there right now. But we've got a busy night, Randy. We've got 8 grassroots finals. We've got a couple of great races on the undercard as well, including a preferred pace. So we're looking forward to the action, and let's get to it. Race number 1 here. This is how we're going to kick things off here. OSET's grassroots finals for 2-year-old trotting fillies, and we've got a field of 10 here. She's 6-1 right now on the board. She doesn't draw too well, but Blue Jean Gal, she has been a complete standout here in this grassroots division, Randy. She's going to have to overcome the outside draw, but if she continues to be as sharp as she's been, she might be tough, but I think some other fillies who draw well in this spot, I think they merit some respect as well, and you are going to go play against what many believe is going to be the one to beat here tonight.
Yeah, are you shocked with the way that I mean, I know it's just opening up, but are you kind of a little bit, kind of a little weirded out? Because I am.
A little bit, but I think that it's going to even out. I think the
so.
Double probables, it still favors, a filly like Blue Jean Gal, but I think some other fillies in here merit a lot of respect, and the one that's currently favored at 2-1, I know you're really high on her coming into tonight.
Yeah, I kind of thought I had a little bit of a sleeper here, but obviously everybody's looking at it as a sleeper. So let's take a look at the last replay for Belle Boo Boo. And she was a winner 2 starts down, you can see, on September the 8th. Chopped it all out and was the easiest, not chopped it all out, but went to the front, let one go, but was the easiest of winners. A shutdown last quarter in 29 seconds. Now this one, she gave up a little bit of ground off the gate. And, it was just makeup from this point on. She's not overly big, but boy, oh boy, can she ever throw the legs down and just keeps moving forward. I liked the effort that she ends up putting up in here. I just think that she had way too much ground to make that effort. Now, the week before that I brought this up, she had the 6-hole, zinged right out of there on top by 2, quarter and 28 and change. I think that with the 5-hole in here tonight, if he wants to employ the same tactics, I think he can do the same thing. At least ways try to keep her a little bit closer. But she's going to be my top pick in here.
I'll tell you what, I know the middle half was favorable, obviously close to a minute there with Belle Boo Boo 2 starts back, but she made a few moves in that winning effort. And this was a filly who was lightly raced, still needed to get a little bit of a feel for herself, right? The breaks were coming. She was coming off a qualifying prep, and that start, I really liked her 2 back because I thought, she just finally, I think, was going to be good enough from a fitness standpoint to put forth a good effort. Boy, was she ever good. Not the trip I envisioned last week, and I don't think you envisioned that same trip. No. I'm not sure if the inside draw was a little bit of a hindrance. I love where she starts on the gate, but it was really hard for me to play against her in this spot. Ultimately, I just figured Blue Jean Gal, outside draw or not, she's just looked really good. But I tell you what, making a run for it, she, provided some tense moments for that filly as well. It looked like she was going to give her a run for her money, but ultimately JBR's filly kind of locked into gear again and got the job done. Yeah,
I mean, I got Blue Jean in for second. I mean, she's definitely the one to beat. My only caution with it was I just kind of thought the last time that she was a winner, I just kind of found her, she was maybe drifting out a little bit on the lane, you know what I mean? And that kind of makes me a little bit worried if one of these live ones land on her back and it's going to give them a clear shot up the lane. One other quickly before we move on there, John. I mean, if I'm looking at this race, the horse that I think started out amazingly well, then went through a real lull, but now has really seemed to turn it on. Unfortunately for her, she draws the 10 hole, and that's Green Money Queen.
Big time.
I really think that this one's really starting to come back into great form.
I backed her in her first career start, and she got the job done. And I was, I said a couple times, and it's early. I know sometimes we make statements prematurely, but I really thought she could potentially be the best grassrooter in the division, because I saw the speed right away, the ability, and again, just went through a little bit of a lull period. Tried that peaceful way, never really seemed to have much, and got a chance to speak with Mark Stacey, and he just didn't really know what went on with this filly. And I think that's the biggest challenge. If you know what's ailing a horse, at least you can try and rectify it. They really had no idea, which I think is the toughest thing. But like you said, those last two efforts, those fourth place tries, trending back to the right way, but to your point, just tough draw to work with tonight.
That's where we're in on the bottom.
I think that's likely, given the trip. I think that's all she can probably get, is just a piece of it tonight, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that's our thoughts on race number 1. We're going to move on to race number 2 here, and we're going to look at some two-year-old pacing fillies here in this spot. We've got a field of 10 here, and Cattle Kiss is going to be an also eligible scratch, obviously, along with Horse with a Plan, but I think she really would have been super competitive if she was competing in more grassroots legs. Yeah, big time. I mean, off that 51 and change mile, but a really nice group here that we've got going Pulseward here. 2-1 morning line favorite is going to be Romantic Beauty. Another homebred of James Averett here that I think seems to be trending the right way. The same way with Tall Dark Lady last night. Romantic Beauty, I think James is picking up a really live drive, but I'm going to opt to try and play against her here in this spot with No Better Air. I thought that was a really good third place effort last time out, but I'm curious to know where you went here in this spot.
Well, I went Romantic Beauty because I look at her as the horse that, like we talked about there, that's just really starting to come on in this back half of the season. She's got 2 wins coming into here, both of them in 51 and 4, and I'm not 100% sure if the last win wasn't more impressive than the first win. So for whatever reason, she is getting a little bit deeper. That's where I'm going to go. But replay that we're going to show you is the last effort of No Better Air, having the 9 hole. So let's take a look at that replay for No Better Air, the Scott McEnany trained filly, and tell me what you think. This is the way you're going tonight?
Yeah, the way I'm going to go here.
Okay, tell me what your thought.
Well, I didn't mind her on September 8th, one that I gave a shot to, and she worked out a pretty good trip. Just didn't have as much on the end of it as maybe I've been accustomed to seeing. But last time out, she had post 9, and she got away last. And she's a handy filly, Randy. She can get off the car, no problem. When you're 5th over turning for home, good luck getting a big piece. And this filly still managed to pick up a third place a check here in this effort. And look at this filly rolling late in the mile. I thought this was a super effort here. Obviously, Lavender Sealster, a dominant effort, and she might be tough to beat in this spot, though, Randy, because she's been razor sharp as of late. But I like the wheels on the end of it that the Scott McEnany trainee put forth. 3rd in the internal Cam Nation behind a couple of gold fillies. She was going to try the Champlain prior to being scratched in that effort. And again, I love the draw that she has to work with tonight. I don't think we're going to see a conservative approach here in the final. I think with a good draw to work with, I think Trevor's going to be gunning out of there. And I think she's going to work out a pretty good trip.
Certainly going to be a race that's going to set her up well. She didn't do anything until the head of the lane and then a big move on the end of it. So she's going to come in here brave and certainly not overly tired. Lavender Sealster, I threw her in for second. I mean, she's the one that I think that we got to beat. Her form is just amazing. But what's amazing, John, is chicanery from the 9 hole and Could Be a Queen from the 10 hole. I got a star and best wrote beside their name, and I'm not using either one of them because of this outside draw. There's just so much depth on the inside as well.
And a trainer change now tonight for chicanery, right? Jacques Dupont's going to take over the training duties here, getting ready here for this grassroots final. So could be a little bit of intrigue there, but I think that Dan Legacy's done a great job with this start of Cattle Wash as well. A little bit quirky though, right? We've seen some steering issues. We've seen some good trips. She has some quirks. I think she still needs to do some maturing. I think some of these other fillies, I think that they might be a little bit handier off the car, and I think that's going to benefit with them. But you spoke about Lavender Sealster. How about the job that Doc's done with her as well? She was a really tricky filly. Looked like she wanted to put in steps, in some of those starts. She has put in steps earlier on in her career. He seems to have gotten that rectified. And to me, it doesn't really matter what trip she gets because she continues to put forth good efforts, and she's going to be reacquainted with Paul McKenzie, who's already got a win on the big track with her, so it's going to be no issue for him, I'd say.
I kind of like the idea that he brought Paul over because I think that's really, really going to help her chances the most, simply because that first time that Paul drove her here, he ambushed them. Nobody
Yep.
expected that move that he put on, and it ended up getting him to the winner's circle. I'm kind of hoping he has another little trick up his sleeve.
He's one of those guys, when he comes here to race, he changes the complexion of the
Yes.
racing. And I
Yeah.
think, we love that. We
Yeah.
love seeing the action.
Oh,
so I think
yes.
he's one who's got
Yeah.
a live horse in here, and he's going to, especially with the confidence that he's going to have with this filly going to tonight, you can expect that Paul McKenzie, there might be a chance, or it might be an approach he takes where he says, I'm the best one, come and get me. Right? So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to race number 2, and we're going to move on to race number 3, and this kicks off that pick 4 sequence. Another grassroots final here for 3-year-old trotting fillies. We've mentioned this name a few times over the past few weeks, Randy, and Foxy Amy, the morning line favorite at 5-2. You figure she's going to be the one to beat in here, but you and I are both going to try and play against this this filly here, because I think there's some logical contenders that I think are going to give her a good run tonight.
Completely agree. I'm going to go with that. Where did you went?
I went to YS Queen Beth.
Right.
I went price shopping there, but you went with Medley Sealster, one
Yep.
that you really liked that effort last time out as well.
Her last 2 efforts I thought were real good. I thought when they first come out with her last year, she was one of the best ones that he had. And again, went through a little bit of a lull this season, only the 5 starts to work with, but I think that they've been good ones. And, one thing about Blake McIntosh is when they go into these finals, his horses are ready to perform, So I'm going to go Medley Sealster, but the replay that we sent in is going to be of YS Queen Beth, and that's going to be your play tonight. So what did you see?
I think me and you, Randy, we were both looking at Ivy Lynn in this spot. We both really liked her in that particular start, and she worked out a tough trip, and she got the job done. So we were just praying that she could hang on, because we knew that she had to be used a couple of times in that mile, and
But
we
there
were
was
just
one
hoping.
that didn't get any air.
No, there was one that didn't get any air, and I'll tell you what, Randy, that's the 2-horse up the inside. I think if she gets real estate, I think she's a winner. She was loaded with trot. You could see Travis Henry right now. He's looking for seam up the inside, and that's Greek's charge there. That didn't give her any room up the inside. And look at the body language on Travis. He's just hoping for a seam. Tries again up the inside. Still no real estate. You watch the head-on shot. She could not get a full bike across. And you can see after the wire, Travis Henry has a few lengths ahead of them after the wire there. And that was a filly that was razor sharp. 1 win in 13 tries. But could you be coming into this final any braver, any sharper off an effort like that?
No,
Yeah.
you couldn't. But you're also coming in here with another bad post position, the
Yeah.
rail. Normally the rail shouldn't be a bad post position, but she did have it one other time, couple of starts down, and gets away 5th. Now, if you get away 5th or 6th, you can still, get to the outside, get a good trip out of it. But sometimes if you get away 5th or 4th, you're looking at a first over journey too. So I'm going to play against her. Loved her in her last, but I'm just thinking with Medley Sealster there, a little bit more to the middle of the gate. I think it gives her a couple of options. But, let's face it, John, we can throw a replay of every one of these horses.
Oh, yeah.
There's one horse to beat, and we're not 100% sure if we can beat her.
Yeah.
And that's Foxy
A big
Amy.
time, yeah.
We're just playing against her. But boy, oh boy, talk about a horse, we've said before about different times, maybe a little too good for the grassroots, but not just quite good enough to be the best gold. And this is one of them right here.
And you know what? She was looking for that wire last time out. And maybe she needed that start. Paul's
Probably.
not going to qualify her leading up to that grassroots
But not a
try.
hard one.
But no, not a hard one. And, she needed that wire, but she could be even tighter tonight. And if that's the case, again, at her best, nobody can touch her in this spot, I think, at least.
I
Right?
agree, and she draws the inside. You know what I mean? The picking up James tonight as well. There's so much pointing towards Foxy Amy in here tonight, but there are a couple of deadly ones in here.
Some intriguing equipment changes as well. Keep an eye out there on the changes as well. I know the Green Book going barefoot all around. Something that
Barefoot all
always
around.
we don't see often, but something that always catches our eye. As for the most competitive grassroots division here, the final, I think we're looking at it right now here for the 3-year-old pacing fillies. Randy, a field of 10, and All My Wishes has been ultra sharp. She draws the outside. Sugar Pie Honey has been sharp. Simply the Best has been sharp. Macapello Sealster. And then we have Lady Freight, who got the job done last time out, being placed first off what were good tries leading up to that victory. But to me, this is the most wide open division. What do you think?
I would say definitely. And the
Okay.
biggest reason, it shouldn't be as wide open, but I find, and again, I'm not 100% sure how deep I would be going on Simply the Best a month ago as opposed to now. Like, her form is completely turned around. I'm not even sure if I would even be looking at a Lady Freight 3 weeks ago, but you got to look at her
Big
now,
time,
So we're going to show a replay. I'm going to go All My Wishes in here.
Okay.
I went up up and down here. I think that he can get her out of there and get her into a good spot. And I'm not sure some of the other ones are going to be able to do that on the outside of the wing. So, I'm hoping that he gets there. You know me, I love Macapella Sealster.
Big
Got her
time.
in for second. But you like Lady Freight. Let's take a look at this one.
I think she might be in tough here tonight, but I think I see this race providing a lot of action here, Andy. And you could see when Phil angles her out, he's going to get her going here as well. But you could see as her momentum gets stalled a little bit because JR starts to veer outwards, and Phil has to check his filly again, and he has to start her up again. It looked to me at this point she was going to call her Louis and simply the best 100%. Ultimately, Louis' filly just digs in. As soon as Phil gets alongside her, she fights. Now, she ended up getting placed in what was a controversial placing there in that spot, but Lady Freight was able to be placed upwards to being a winner. To me, I think that if JR doesn't veer out halfway down the lane,
gets there.
I think Phil gets there for sure because Phil had to start and stop his filly again. Nevertheless,
26-2 on the end of it.
I thought that was a great effort. Big time. I mean, that's huge. I mean, this is a filly who had some steering issues. You could see in some of those tries. She was racing well for Phil. Just couldn't get her straightened out in the lane when it mattered. And I thought that last effort, she looks to me like much straighter than she was in those efforts prior. And I'm just banking on a lot of action early on. That's all I'm hoping for.
Do you remember the mare she's out of? She raced here a long
Yeah,
time.
tough mare. Yeah,
she
some
was.
speed as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping that Phil Hudon can play the role of upsetter here in what is a wide open division. Look, you loved Macapello Sealster all season long. You said she was by far and away the best grassrooter here. I know it was tough for you to put her in for second here tonight.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was the right call because I still do believe that she's the best horse, in this field or whatever, you know what I mean? But I looked at this race, and the reason why I went with All My Wishes, I looked at this race and over in my head how I think the trip is going to play out, and no matter how I put it, I think that Macapello Sealster is not going to get the trip that she needs to get the job done. Hope I'm wrong because big fan of her, but All My Wishes, I think that she can get the trip she needs to get.
I think Sugar Pie Honey is also a danger because she's got that versatile racing style.
Who'd you throw in the bottom?
I used her in for fourth. I used the 5 underneath as well as the 9. I mean, I left off Macapello Sealster. It was really tough for me, but I did use her in the pick 5.
I used Slinky the Best in on the bottom, and I absolutely love her.
I struggled with this race as well. I ultimately I went with the filly that I think might be able to pick up the pieces late in the mile. But we're going to go to race number 5 here, Randy. We're going to look at a field of 10 here. This is a really interesting group here as well. Hot Country's been the sharp racehorse, but I'm going to opt to try and play against them. I know that's the decision or the route you're going to take here as well. I thought I'd go Dream for Peace on top. One that we both liked last week off a sneaky good effort on September 9th. I went to Green 19 here in this spot, but I'm curious to know, did you go Dream for Peace here tonight?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, again, only the 4 starts to work with, but it just seems like he's trending in the right way. And the barn that he comes out of, I mean, they've lived this movie many times. But you're using Green 19. I got very good on the end for Green 19. What's your thoughts here, John?
Big time. And you know what, Randy? What I talked about Green 19 time and time again is his handiness and his gate speed is such a valuable asset. He had a great draw to work with, and Todd Ratchford said, you know what, I'm going to try a different approach tonight. I'm going to ease off the gate and come from off the pace. He never left the rail, so you should say he's supposed to have trot, which I get. But I think it's so valuable here in a final, which you want to be able to display some versatility. The fact that his colt could finish up that nicely, up the inside, racing that specific style, I think that bodes really well here now. I think Todd's got options, and I think that's going to prove valuable in this final.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Really, really good on the end of it. Comes out of a good barn, and Todd Ratchford, maybe this could be big win for him. 75,000. We've seen him win a couple of golds this year. He knows how to get there with the stakes.
Won the console the other day with a Matt Bax trainee as well the other night, and I think this is a wide open race. Hot Country coming off 3 consecutive victories.
Where'd you go with him? I put him in for second.
I put him in for third. I went Green 19. I went Dream for Peace and Hot Country. Look, I think this guy merits a lot of respect. He does not do it the flashy way whatsoever. He looks like he's a little bit lethargic out there at times. James has to call on him a bit, but he just finds the job to get it. He just finds a way to get it done. And he's got a nose for a wire, he does.
Going to ask you a question. Okay, the same field, exactly the way that it is. 4 to 5 weeks ago, who do you go with on top?
Exact same field. Oh, without a doubt, LP Bay.
That's exactly the same as me. Now, that's what we're trying to tell you. I mean, at one time, you couldn't play against LP Bay, but he's not coming into this back half of the season the same.
This is a gold-level horse racing in the grassroots right now because his gait is not where it should be right now, and he's struggling to find some confidence with that, but he's going to have trotting hopples tonight. I think is one that if you're going to play pick 5 tickets, why not take a shot and use him in that last leg just in case? Because if he gets away cleanly and those trotting hopples help instill some confidence, look out.
Yeah.
Because if he's within the striking distance turning for home, they're not going to beat him.
No.
I do not think so. If he stays trotting tonight, they will not beat him.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And well, no, if he stays trotting and he brings his game,
Yes, 100%.
that's the
Yep,
thing.
yep.
And that's, again, you kind of got to look through the cracks once in a while because, like I said, a month ago, me and John both would have been all over this guy. 10-hole or not, wouldn't have mattered.
Something just, again, his gate's off, but that wasn't an issue with him before. I mean, if something's ailing him, I mean,
just
who
different.
knows, but just not the same trotter that we've seen early on. And look, those trotting hopples can make a heap of a difference. We saw Go Dog add the trotting hopples today in Lexington, and we know at his best he can get the job done, and he cruised to a 49 and change victory. Sometimes it just helps horses mentally when you have that piece of equipment.
Well, I think
on.
we've seen the same thing with Foxy Amy. He
Yep.
tried her a lot of times free-legged, you know what I mean? But he had to go back to the trotting hobbles. She
big
needed
time.
them.
All right, we're going to move on to race number 7 here. Race 6 is the start of the late pick 5, but no grassroots final for that one. That's an overnight race with some pacers. But we're going to go to race number 7 here for some rookie pacing colts and geldings. We've got a field of 10 here in this spot. The now horse has to be odds on Bullfrog Randy. He's a game son of Bulldog Hanover. Again, not a flashy margin of victory, but he has a nose for a wire as well. And how about Major Money? This guy's got some confidence in him coming into this final as well.
That's the way that I'm going to go. Major Money in here. I thought it was a great effort in his last. He's one of them ones that's coming in here, and he's been good all season. And his form is still good. He draws good. He keeps James McDonald. There's just so much to like. I'm going to go him. But the replay that we're going to show, again, did you go this 5-horse up
went
on
Mega
top?
Moves, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at the replay from Mega Moves. This is going to be John's pick in here. Now, this is a colt that, did try gold a couple down, finished 7th, but it wasn't a bad effort. And then this one was a real nice one. What'd you think, John?
I thought this was a perfect time to take a shot with him in that most recent event because you had illicit behavior in there who likes to get a little bit leg weary late in the mount. Bob drove him perfect the other day, given that he's got that one wicked move, and if you time it accordingly, it's going to be tough to fend him off. But you could see Mega Moves. He worked behind some pretty poor cover, and Louis starts to get his charge rolling, but he had too much ground to make up. Ultimately, the other Tony Beaton trainee, Lions First Bulldog, was able to kind of slip out of there and get the jump on him, and Louis just misses here. I think this is a great effort. He's been taking on some tough company throughout. They tried him in the Nassagaweya. They tried him in a gold. I think those races were a little bit too tough for this guy. I think he fits the grassroots perfectly. He's got a good draw to work with. And I think with a post improvement and a much better trip, I think he's going to be a big factor late in the mile.
Definitely a horse that's on his form.
Yep.
No doubt
Big
about that. Like him, love odds on Bullfrog. I think there's another horse in here that's also racing quite well, and he was 3rd in that replay that we showed, and that's 36
Big
Red.
time, yep.
This is a horse that's really, he doesn't show a lot of wins, only the 7 starts and only the 2 wins, but, they're in the back half of the season, and his form right now, to me, for Paul Davies, spot on good.
Big time. And Lions Gustavo Fring, I know one that you really liked 2
Yeah.
starts back. I thought you would have had him underneath on the ticket. A tough draw last time out. I think you can scratch that effort out the window, but this is a pretty good field as well.
It is,
He's going to need to work out a trip, I'd say, to get the job done. Again, you keep bringing up multiple horses in every leg. I think it goes to show the competitiveness of these finals, Randy. All right, we're going to move on to race number 8, and we've got some trotters here for some sophomore trotters. We've got a field of 10. That morning line favorite, Nickel and Dime. He seems to be the now horse right now in this division, and ever since he's come into Mark Etzel's barn here, he was a purchase for the new connections. He's been doing some pretty good things, and he's going to be tough to beat here in this spot, especially if he works out a pretty good trip.
He's going to be tough to beat, no doubt about that. But he's beatable.
He is, yep.
I'm giving big props to the 6-horse Flanagan Sunshine. I mean, talk about a horse that's really come into the back half of the season, on amazingly good form. And it seems to me it was when that one time that they went barefoot with him. Everything changed with that horse from that point on. And now he's I think Phil's going to have himself a really, really nice ride with this guy.
And the Lasix seemed to really help him as well, right? Added Lasix a couple starts ago, both of which were good efforts. That September 11th race, a trouble trip. Couldn't get out until late, and Nickel and Dime had to jump on him. I view it as a 2-horse race, personally. I really think it's only the 6 or the 7. I think some other horses could put forth good efforts, but I think these 2 are coming in cracking sharp, and I think they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I do. I think right now, Nickel and Dime, I mean, obviously Flanagan Sunshine could beat him, but I just think Nickel and Dime right now, he's at maybe just a different level than the rest of them. Not by a lot, but a little bit.
And has shown different dimensions as well.
I could see him going 53 tonight.
Big time. And we talked about the open pace that we've got here on the program. Not a preferred, but it is going to be an open pace. A field of 8. How cool is this to have on an undercard as well? And we're going to see the return of that 7-horse Randy, our former NA Cup champion, Nijinsky. I tell you what, we just love watching the stars of our sport being able to compete, especially at 100%. I know he wasn't himself in that most recent try at the Meadowlands, and we haven't seen him since then. It's good to see him come back, and I think he's got a couple of nice qualifiers leading up to this event tonight.
Yeah, we're going to look at the last qualifier on this guy, John. We got two replays to show in here. We're going to show the last qualifier for Nijinsky and the last race for Remember the Alamo. Okay, let's roll this. And guess what, John? Nijinsky's flying again.
Yep.
I always noticed this about him before. It just seems like sometimes you'd see him there. All 4 feet would always be up off the ground at the same time. It just looks almost like he's levitating or something when he's going. And then that kind of went away earlier in the year, this year. It just didn't seem like he was quite getting the air that he was normally getting. And then you look at this qualifier, you know, he's pacing good right here. Looks really good. I mean, obviously James has got to be pumped to jump up and get a chance to sit behind Nijinsky. I'm going to play him up on top. Maybe that's a mistake on my part, because we're going to take a look at the replay from Remember the Alamo. And just before you roll this, Ryan, you're going to see this horse. He's in the 3-hole, and one pylon seemed like it was teetered over just a little bit more than the rest of the pylons, and he's going to see it, spot it, and do the steeplechase jump over it, and then come back with a huge recovery. Okay, Ryan, let's go with this. So this is Remember the Alamo tonight, and I mean, for a horse to be able to do this at full speed, like he just, I guess we should have went just a bit back further, but anyway, he did jump it. You can see, I think he shows, he shows a break, but look at the recovery that he puts on, and this is into a 48 and 2 mile, and look at the body language on James. You know what I mean? Like, he's just looking for room for this guy. He's not doing a whole lot there. I mean, I think at this point, you know, as a driver, when a horse makes a jump like that, I don't think I would go full tilt with him, because what happens if he jumped on his quarter? Or what happens if he happened to jump and pull part of his shoe off, and then, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think that James was kind of playing it quiet there at the end, because he didn't really know at the time what went on, you know? So, Remember the Alamo, Tyler Borth going to pick him up tonight, because James is going to, babysit Nijinsky while Louis out of town. And I'm going to go Nijinsky on to Remember the Alamo, but I could easily see it going the other way just as easily.
A horse like that who jumps over a pylon, isn't it easy for them to just drop the bit in that case? I mean, James still had tight lines to him. It looked like he never popped the plugs during the stretch, and he was still a horse moving forward. I think you picked the best horse in this field. But to your point, is he going to be tight enough or fit enough to go 48 and change mile tonight in particular? I think Remember the Alamo has that edge on Nijinsky tonight. I can't say he's the better horse, not with the resume that Nijinsky's been able to build up throughout his career.
I completely agree with you, you know what I mean? But one, like you said, one's been racing, one's a speed horse. Even if Nijinsky sits on his back, can he track him down? I don't know.
I think he could. I'm hoping that he's got, quite a bit of work.
But I think there's a better chance that if Remember the Alamo sits on Nijinsky's back, I think Remember the Alamo can get by him.
I think it's going to be a great showdown nonetheless.
It's going to be a heck of a showdown.
And there's some other good ones in there that merit a lot of respect. And I
just like the Nijinsky's back.
It's fun. I'm looking forward to it as well. And hopefully he can put forth a good effort this evening. We're going to close things out here in race number 10, which is the final grassroots final of the night. A field of 10, and the morning line favorite at 3-1, starting from post 10, Out of Ice. He seems to be the grassroots, stalwart here in this 3-year-old pacing division.
In my opinion, there was only one grassrooter that could beat him, John, and that was fifth and 5.
Stablemate.
That's right. And 10-hole or not, I think Jody can get the job done with this guy. He's going to be my top pick in here. SOS Sports Bet picking up James McDonald. In my opinion, locked in till too late in that last start. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be coming out of there too. Lions, frankly, Jay, really, really coming into the season good on the end of it for Kenny Oliver. Good luck tonight for Daryl Thiessen. The replay that we're going to show is the horse that you like in here, and that is Bruno No. So give me some Bruno, yes.
I took a shot with him last time out as a value player, and I thought he worked out a pretty good trip in the sense of we had Out of Ice.
This is going to be second start Lasix.
Big time, and I thought this is the best he's ever looked, Randy. And look, Out of Ice came first over, so at this point I'm third over with the horse that has been live late. I loved where I was, especially with the fractions that set up. But again, Out of Ice just kind of proved his dominance in this division. Again, we've mentioned it time and time again. It doesn't seem to matter which way Jody races him. He's proving too tough for this division. But how about the job, or how about the goal that Bruno No shows at the end of it here? You could see Garrett Rooney working out a third over trip. And again, it was a good trip. And he's tipping out right now tipping wide, and he's going forward. And I thought he was pacing really, really well. And again, like you mentioned, that was first start Lasix. Ultimately, he's not going to get to out of ice. SOS Sports better able to slip through late to get second. But I tell you what, this Gabby Sasso trainee was moving forward. This guy's got the speed, and I'm hoping he's got some speed to set up for him up front, because I think he could be tough to fend off late if it all sets up for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, another thing that would be kind of nice is come this winter time, maybe Garrett Rooney would start to drive a little bit more over here. I think he could make things happen too.
Limited opportunities, but he's making the most of it. He's putting horses
like
in
the way
pretty
he
good
drives.
spots as well. So there's our look at race number 10. Again, one that I'm going to use out of ice in my pick 5 ticket, Randy, because he merits a heap of respect here in this spot. But again, I said it time and time again, they're going to be racing tonight. I wouldn't expect anything but, and every year we get to this grassroots final night and we always see some action.
Yeah. 49-4 for out of ice lifetime mark. I say he batters it tonight.
All right, we're going to skip over a couple other, some pick 5 ideas and some other stuff and go straight to the anthem here as we kickstart our Saturday night.
That's right. Let's direct your attention to the Mohawk Park Winner's Circle, where we're excited to once again have Marie Makiba back with us. Marie is a singer-songwriter who has been performing the national anthem for years in front of large audiences. She is passionate about music and has released some of her vocal sounds on Spotify and Apple Music. She was once faced with the possibility of not performing after having a vocal polyp removed. Makiba encourages others to share their passions with the world and embrace risks. Don't let fear hinder your true potential. Please welcome Marie as she performs our national anthem. Take it away, Marie.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Great job, Marie. Thank you. As we are getting closer to kicking off our OSS Grassroots Championship night. Another run through the changes. A new change you'll notice in race number 6. We do have a scratch now of 5B Stony. Judges transportation scratch of the 5B Stony out of tonight's 6th race. We're about 14 away from the Saturday opener.
All right, we're gonna get set here momentarily as we kickstart this 11 pack. It wouldn't be OSS. It wouldn't be an OSS night without a great rendition of "O Canada" as well. A great job as always by Marie.
Marie,
yeah, great job.
I like
as
she
always.
changes it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
so
kinda cool.
Good way to kick off the night here, and we're gonna hope to have some success here on the handicapping side, Randy. And as for plays of the night, let's go through your board.
Okay, so we're going to start out in race number 1, and that's going to be Belle Boo Boo. It's going to be my all-in tonight, John.
All right.
Race number 3, I'm going to go beat the favorite, and that's going to be Medley Sealster. I think Foxy Amy will be taking the most looks in there. Waples Watch is going to come along in race number 5, and that's going to be Dream for Peace, a horse that I really think is coming into this second half of the season huge. And Worth a Look is going to be coming along in race number 6, and this is a horse that I think is going to come up with a big effort tonight, and he's going to have to, and that's the 8-horse Legion Seals.
I'm with you. Big
Good.
effort last time out.
Loving
He
it,
made up
John.
some good ground in what was a big
Loving it.
mile there. So there's Randy's plays of the night. I'm in agreement with a lot of your picks. I might not have them on top, most of them, but ones that I think are going to be big factors. My spot play is going to come in race number 2, No Better Air, hoping to maybe extract some value there in that second race. My best bet's going to be Mega Moves in race number 7. I like his post relief here tonight. My all-in is going to be Remember the Alamo. I think this one's sitting on a big effort here tonight. And my value play is going to be Bruno, no. So I love, like I said, I'm pumped up for this card, Randy. I like the ideas that we both bring forth. And some of the other resident handicappers as well, they're going to chime in with some of their thoughts. And Garnet Barnsdale spot play is going to be Lady Freight. I'm liking that one, hoping we can get a setup. Doug Henwood, green 19 is deep crunch. Doug had a superb night handicapping last night. He also had Absolution on top, so congrats to Doug as
Way
well
to
on
go,
a
Doug.
wicked night of handicapping. He provided some great value. And Gislan Paquette, Pacino Hanover is going to be his okay go. Class relief tonight, Randy. It should be a spot to put forth a pretty big effort here, I'd say.
I completely
But
agree.
we want
And-
Legion.
And you know something? If he does get Pacino Hanover down in that race at 3-1, that is a
Yeah.
great bet.
I think he'll be the favorite though.
I
Tonight.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, there's some resident handicappers' thoughts. We showed you our thoughts, and we're going to be back here momentarily as we kick off the 11 race program here. Again, it's OSS Grassroots final night, and it's going to be action all night long. Good luck.